Good morning, Facebook family. Candi here. This is the Good Morning Show. This is your place of faith in the morning. I am with Rich Fontaine, you guys. I'm so excited. He's saying good morning there. We're going to let a few people pop in. It is a rainy Monday morning, Rich. So, you know what? Everyone might catch this on replay, but that's okay too.
That's okay.
And we hope that you're resting well. But we are here this morning. We're going to have a great conversation. So please grab a friend. If you or someone you know has wanted to write that book, is ready to feed your mind for the end of this month as we are talking about mental health awareness, this is the conversation you're going to want to be a part of. So good morning, everyone. And I am super honored to have my guest this morning, Rich Fontaine. He's a best-selling author. He's also a speaker. And I was just so intrigued reading your bio. It's like, what don't you do? It's really, really amazing. Would you say good morning to our viewers?
Hey, viewers. Good morning. Thank you for joining us at Good Morning with Candi and Rich Fontaine.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. So I'm loving your website. So here's a shot here. And this is like the old school feel, the typewriter. Do you use a typewriter or you're
I used to use a typewriter a long time ago,
really?
But I use my laptop to create books. But I like the nostalgic feel of the writer. You know, I feel like it was once a very prestige thing to be considered a writer. And so that's how I envision writing as a whole, as a very prestige and honorable thing to do.
No, absolutely. I mean, I put your graphic up. I think yesterday I was posting the promotional video, and I put like Miles Davis behind your photo, and I was like, yeah, that's the kind of the feel that I get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Miles Davis,
the Renaissance man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's say good morning to some people that are joining us. Remember, we can't see your comments unless you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Again, that's StreamYard.com/Facebook. And then we can see your comments. But we want to say good morning to Morgan. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Morgan.
And if you are, is that your friend?
No, but I appreciate her coming by regardless.
No, it's so nice. And sometimes if a name pops up and it's a new viewer, you know, I just say thank you for joining. And I'd love to know how you found out about the Good Morning Show. We're here to really provide us a place of encouragement and sometimes laughter. Sometimes we tackle tough topics as well, but it's really a way to start our mornings off right, because as you're going to talk about, our mindset, Rich, is like everything. It's everything. So if you're watching right now, I'm going to ask you to tag a few people to join us live as we jump into our discussion. Just put their name right in the comment and they'll be notified that we're live and we're talking about some really good stuff about becoming an author, but also feeding our minds. So I kind of want to start in reverse. Let's start with the topic of this is, you know, the end of Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yep.
And I came across your page, and first of all, you have a children's book, you have other publications, and that's just so endearing. Like when I first met you, and I think that we were at the backpack drive.
We were at the backpack drive. That's exactly the day we met. Absolutely.
Yep. And just seeing the children's book and seeing how you were sharing that with the audience of children, it was so beautiful. And you were there at the time with your wife, right? Yeah. Oh, as soon as I said that.
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
That was good timing. So thanks again, everyone. We're going to jump into this discussion this morning. I have Rich Fontaine as my guest. He's a best-selling author, and he also is a speaker. And I see that you guys are jumping on. If you could tag someone's name in the comment section, let them know we're on, and let's get ready to rock. So tell us a little bit about you, and then let's kind of jump into the discussion about feeding our minds. I think that's a good place to start.
Absolutely. Yeah. A little bit about me is I was born in Brooklyn, New York, with two Haitian parents, both from the small island of Haiti. And we grew up with very minimal means. I used to say that we grew up so poor. That's why my parents named me Rich, you know, to offset things a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah. But we grew up in an area where it was really tough. You know, sometimes we didn't have hot water or even the heat in the wintertime, where we grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut. Also, we grew up in an area that was very, very tough where, you know, I was ran, jumped, bullied. It was almost the type of thing you had to watch yourself even when you walked outside. I was walking to the bodega. I think I was 10 years old when, no, 11, when a kid hit me in the back of the leg with a metal pole. I didn't see him. He was waiting for me in the dark. So it was always that type of lifestyle that we were living, especially us being less fortunate. Other kids had the nice clothes, the name brands, while, I still had the hand-me-downs and the Kmart brand.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of ridicule. But what happened with the ridicule left me kind of in a lone state where I found my love of writing and reading. Yeah. I used to get in trouble a lot just because, I had to fight back sometimes. So I get suspended from school. And so my parents would, you're in trouble, you got to stay in your room. And so the only thing I could do, they said, no TV, no nothing, but you can read. And so I spent a lot of time reading, and I found a love for reading. It was like my escape, like if anybody ever been to prison, a lot of prisoners read because that's kind of their escape from that box. And that was my escape. And then from the love of reading, I found myself writing as well. So I wrote my very first book when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. It was a really small story in my notebook. A teacher made me do it because I wasn't paying attention in class. I was just writing. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm writing a book. And he said, okay, I'll pass you if you complete your book and read it out loud to the class. I said, I'm not reading my book out loud to the class. You're going to have to fail me.
Right.
Said, you finish it and I'll read it in the front of the class. So I said, okay, fine. So he took it. It was a short story. It was a kind of a haunted house. I was reading a lot of Goosebumps books at the time.
Yeah, that's
for those millennials, you may not know, younger generation, but Goosebumps was like
exactly
the best thing since sliced bread. And those books, and I wrote my own, and he read it out loud, and the class gave me a standing ovation.
Woo, that's awesome.
Yeah, and from there, I just knew that there was something here with this writing thing for me. And so, long story short, just through still some trial and tribulations in my life, just losing confidence in myself. I had a teacher tell me when I was 7th grade, 12 years old, that would never amount to anything, that I either would end up in jail or just another statistic. And I remember that really bothering me since that time. And I found myself doing things that weren't positive. I found myself stealing a lot, getting into fights out through high school, and then went to college and still was getting in trouble. I got arrested like 3 times while I was in college.
Wow.
Just getting into troubles because I didn't have the confidence in myself.
Yeah.
I was still, though I was trying to do the right thing, there's a difference between just doing and being. And that's where the mindset comes from. Your mindset is actually becoming something versus just doing something, going through the motions. And when I found myself just doing, I found myself failing over and over again.
Wow.
Because I honestly understood my mindset, was conscious of my mind, and I started reprogramming my mind for more confidence of my belief in me. That's when things started to really change, where I started believing myself more, that I was not going to put myself in situations and conditions that ruin the future that I could really build for myself. And when I switched that mindset of, instead of being like, man, I can't, to I can, I will, I must, it started changing my mind to start doing things, but not just doing again, but being something more than I was. And I feel like that's what really made the change from, getting kicked out of college twice to actually graduating with a BS in civil engineering.
Awesome.
Just not be able to write books. Like I book ideas for a long time, but I never actually executed on them.
Sure.
So the mindset shift. And then, now I'm on I'm going to have my 8th book done this year.
Wow.
I have 4 more books coming out this year, as well as this one. This is my 4th book. So
we're going to get into how to become an author and then how to become a prolific author, because that's a lot of work. First of all,
yes,
congratulations on what you've achieved, but also your transparency to tell your story. And for some reason, it sounds like every time you got in trouble, you were motivated to make a shift. That was from a little bit. But you talked about becoming. I don't know if I've heard anyone say that your mind is always becoming, but you were just in the state of doing. So as we're talking about Mental Health Awareness Month, we tend to just think of mental illness when we say that. But I wanted to take this week in particular to talk about growing our mind. Have you ever heard of Dr. Carolyn Leaf? Is that someone you've come across before?
I have not come across Dr. Carolyn Leaf.
Well, she's a neuroscientist. She talks about the brain, and she's brilliant. So if you guys are watching, check her out. But she talks about how we build new neural pathways with everything we learn. So basically, it's I know it's a lot of what you teach and what you share is we're changing the landscape of our brain and how we think by what we read, what we take in. So I want to touch on that because I believe that this broadcast is meant to go out and encourage someone. And when we share this, and I encourage everyone watching to share it after we're done, or share it now. Actually, you can just go right to the live and hit share. Someone needs this today because they've been wanting to write the book, but they've been procrastinating like their whole life. But it's not about really just procrastinating. It's that their mindset hasn't shifted yet. They may not have the confidence. And I want you to speak to that philosophy of constantly growing your mind.
Absolutely. Like you just said, that the brain is always producing new neuron pathways. So your brain yesterday is not the same brain from today. It's like something Bob Proctor told me once, that when you read a book, the person that put down the book is not the same person that opened that book. And this is why I reread books, because the same person that reopened that book is not the same person that opened the book the first time. You're constantly growing. T. Harv Eker says either you're growing or you're dying. Literally, your body could only move in one or two directions, through growth and expansion or through shrinking and reduction. And we're constantly making that shift. But the only way to grow your mind is to do things, read things, see things, experience things that are out of the zone of comfort that you're used to. So when you do new challenging things and you do it on a consistent basis, you're actually reprogramming your mind to do more challenging things and get into the habit of doing more challenging things. But at very first, it starts with reprogramming your mind. What Napoleon Hill calls autosuggestion. If you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil, he goes really deep in autosuggestion, meaning that suggestions are what are the building blocks of your thoughts. Just the suggestions. So when somebody even just says something to you, all that is a suggestion. It's not true. It's not true. It's just a suggestion. So if somebody says, you know what, I don't think you can do that.
Right.
That's not really a statement of fact. That's just a suggestion. That's just a statement of, hey, what that person thinks.
Yeah.
But what happens is if we don't reject, we either accept or reject thoughts.
That's it.
Suggestions. So if we don't reject it instantly, it penetrates. It's like a seed, right? And once that seed is planted, if you keep cultivating that seed through a habitual thought of, maybe he's right, maybe I can't do it, maybe, people in my culture can't do that, I've never seen anybody. Like, the more you cultivate that thought, you're actually adding water and sunlight to that thought, and it will grow roots, and it'll start to grow leaves, and it'll start to germinate and become a plant in your mind. And that thought becomes the weeds in your thoughts. And the only way to pull out a weed, you have to go deep and pull it out. Once it grows roots, you can't just, okay, reject it then. It's too late. Now it's a part of your thought process. So it has to be rejected instantly. And autosuggestion is just a replacement of that thought, because you already have those thoughts in. The seed's already been planted, the roots are already there. Yeah. So all you're doing is replacing that seed to say, I can do it. And they say, I think it was a NYU that had a study that you have to at least say 7 to 17 times the opposite of that negative thought. Woo! Just reject that negative, right? So imagine how many times you have to say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, just to offset that one, I can't do it. And so it's a habitual habit of, Napoleon Hill says, right before bed or right in the morning and midday. Repeat your affirmation, repeat the thought that you want to have consistently, Because what happens is your mind's a system of habit. It likes systems, it likes cycle, it likes the habitual ways because it saves energy that way. So the more you go into a loop over and over and over and over again, your mind and your subconscious mind will accept that thought. And then that starts to become the thought, that seed that plants. And then it grows its own team, right? Like, you know, you have a plant and all of a sudden it rains and then more plants of that same rose are popping up. And so it invites its friends. Whatever that habitual thought is, it invites its friends, either negative or positive. So if you keep it on the positive, it starts inviting its friends, like, oh, I can do it, to, you know, I think I can do it. Or yeah, I can see myself doing it. Or yeah, it'd be nice to do it. Hey man, it'd feel great if I could do it. And before you know it, you start getting all this momentum and then you start to believe it. You know what? I really can't do it. And the only time you know when it really reaches your subconscious mind, this is the trick, how you know it actually planted and it's seeding and it's germinating, is when you're taking action. Even when don't even it's to a point where you don't have to force yourself to do it. Like you don't have to force, like when I don't sit down and force myself to write a book, it's natural in me now. Not to sit down and just start writing. Like it, even when I don't write, I have this feeling like, man, you know, I need to be writing something right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go write something. Just it's planted, and that's how you know. So if your audience or any member watching this, if you're not consistently taking action, it's because that first part hasn't been done yet to really reach that subconscious mind. But it only takes repetition, over and over and over again, like muscle. Like the only time you see a guy with a big bicep is he's like, I mean, man, he didn't get that in one day. He's been curling for months. He's been curling the same curls for months. And then that's when it starts to show. But if it hasn't shown yet, it's just because you haven't done it consistently enough.
Okay, I'm about to jump off my chair right here because I'm like, oh, this is so good. And a good friend of mine, Shanae, is on it. She's like, this is so good. And I'm like, yes, girl, we're going to talk about this later.
Hi, Shanae.
So, and Shanae's part of, she's got a women's ministry. I'm part of a prayer group. But, you know, these foundations are universal. A lot of the principles we find actually in the Bible, too. And
It's all there.
It is. I think about when you said that someone told you would amount to nothing. I think about the day I told this story before on Good Morning Show. When I was graduating, we had to have like our final exit interview with our guidance counselor. And I go sit down and I'm like, I'm going to be on news. I'm going to be a newscaster. I'll go in there and I'm like thinking I'm going to get like the pump you up speech. Go, Candi. And I sit there and I tell her, she's like, so what do you want to be? Where are you going to go when you leave? And I'm like, I'm going to UCF and I want to study broadcasting. Go Knight. Oh, you're a Knight. That's right.
Yeah, I'm a Knight. Yeah, I'm an alumni. Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to be a broadcaster. I want to be I thought I wanted to be on news. And she goes, you might want to find something else, you know, because not everybody gets on television and blah, blah, blah. And at the time, of course, I didn't know that I'd have to counteract that negative word with everything that I tell myself and with everything that I surround and filled myself. So I let that seed grow. And it's the minute adversity came, it kind of plucked my dreams. I kind of went off track for a little bit. And sometimes I think, well, that detour kind of led me to where I am now. And where I am now is in a good place. So I kind of take all that experience. Maybe I could have gotten to my destination a lot quicker had I been in the right state of mind. But I just really love what you said. And it all ended with you saying that, you know, when you've come to that place where you are, and what did you say that Napoleon Hill calls it?
Auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggestion. So I remember growing up as a child, my mom used to always say, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I lacked confidence in a lot of areas. I was very introverted growing up, very shy. But anytime anyone said anything about me being, you know, too big, not, you know, not pretty, not this, not that, in the back of my mind, my mom's like, you're beautiful. And I would just be like, whatever, and shrug it off and keep going. And I think about that as how many years she was planting that seed so that actually when the negative word would come, it couldn't even penetrate.
Absolutely. It becomes a guard. It becomes a guard because, you know, like you said in the Bible, to him that believeth, right? These things come to him that believeth.
Yeah.
And that's just the key. That's a major key that Jesus said in order for you to understand. It's your belief system, which comes to all like one of my mentors is Abraham Hicks. And she said, all belief is a thought that you keep repeating over and over and over and over again. That's all belief is. So when you have a belief system, that is something that was just suggested to you multiple times, multiple times, multiple times, just like your mother, that it was so strong that it couldn't penetrate. Versus somebody else may have heard something negative so many times that even if somebody tell them that they're beautiful, they can't believe it. I've known people, I was that person. You know, I was a chubby kid. And so I was heard, you know, you're chubby, you're fat, you're ugly, all through my middle school years. And that's, 3 years kind of consistently. And so by the time I hit high school, I started growing, becoming into myself, I have girls say, oh, you're handsome. And I wouldn't believe it. I would literally reject that and be like, they're just saying that because whatever reason. I would make excuses for them because I couldn't believe in myself that all those things I heard previously was not true.
Yeah.
But when finally somebody said the opposite, I, reject, and that happens to tons of people. Someone said, hey, man, you could probably do that career. Yeah, thanks, man. No, yeah, I'll try. But in the back of your mind, you're like, no, I can't do that.
That's right.
I can't do it so many times.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this one story, what you just said, of Jay-Z, right? We all know Jay-Z, Sean Carter, married to Beyonce, multi-billionaire, greatest rapper alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the accolades. But when he started, he had a mixtape that he gave to his uncle. True story. He says the story all the time. I saw him in concert and he mentioned the story and I thought it was brilliant.
Wow. That
he went to his uncle and gave him his mixtape. It was his first little album. He did it on his recorder. He was so proud of it. And he's like, man, I'm gonna be the next Run DMC.
Wow.
And his uncle listens to him, he's excited. But his uncle's like, just listening to the whole tape and says, it's cool, but I don't think you'll ever be big as Run DMC. Wow. And of course that hurt him because it's like, man, I'm looking for my uncle's approval. I'm looking for people to validate my dreams. And we always are looking for somebody that says, bring the wind beneath my wings, give me some uplift. Yeah. And sometimes our closest family or closest friends would be the ones, because they can't believe it themselves. They said, well, if I can't do it, somebody in my bloodline can't do it either. That makes no sense. Right? But they don't understand it's the mind. It has nothing to do with your blood, has nothing to do with your background, has nothing to do with your gender, nothing to do with your religion, what country you're from, nothing. It has everything to do of how we think. And so Jay just had the strength, probably from his mother, constantly telling him, you're awesome, you can do whatever you want to do, that he rejected his uncle's thought and said, no, I'm gonna do this anyway.
Yeah.
Now you see him. Imagine if he listened to his uncle.
Imagine that.
He'd be still in the Brooklyn in the hood somewhere, try to make ends meet, right? Yeah. Instead of being married to Beyonce and billions of dollars. So
that's good.
Yeah, it just takes that one you got to reject. You have to stay, like Jim Rohn, my mentor, says, stand guard at the doorway of your mind. Constantly be conscious of what people say to you. Not even what people say, what you hear, even on radio, TV. Sometimes, we see us, right? People of color, we're like, hold on, man, I ain't like that. They constantly show you is one type of image, and that gets into your mind. That makes you think like, okay, well, are all people supposed to be like this? And the answer is absolutely not. So I reject images that don't represent where I want to go. I reject thoughts that doesn't represent where I want to go, and people and suggestions that don't represent where I want to go. I'm conscious. I reject them instantly. And even if it penetrates slightly, I replace it. I'm like, well, what does he know?
Oh my gosh. This, gonna have us all shouting here. I should see like fire emojis, you guys, here on the comments. If this is good, please let us know. Don't forget, tag someone, because we still have about 5 to 7 minutes with Rich this morning. This is really rich. No pun intended. But I do want to get into some comments from those who are watching. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you don't see your comment, I apologize. It's probably on my Facebook feed, but you've got to go to StreamYard.com. StreamYard.com. It's spelled just how it sounds, /Facebook, and it'll allow you to show your comments. So Shanae says, stand guard at the doorway of your mind. I wish I could write it down. I don't want to be rude, so I don't want to type while you're talking, but Thank you, Jasmine. Fire. Let's see. We have some people that are quoting this because it's just so good. We don't do that, and we take it for granted that just positive thinking will wash away all those negative seeds. But we have to be vigilant. So we have some more comments. Yes, this is so true. Thank God for renewing our minds. Actually, that's great, Shanae. And then Millie said earlier, good morning. I so needed this. Very inspiring, motivational, not just to write, but to go with your inner thoughts and keep moving with your dreams and goals.
Yes.
That's awesome, Millie.
Thank you for that.
So I'm going to switch over to your website here because I want to show the this tagline piece here. And I'll scroll up because the website is really beautifully done. I love this. The site is, give them the name of the website as well.
Sure. If you go to thewealthyauthor.com, that's thewealthyauthor.com, and then you hit the tab that says Right to Grow Rich, it'll take you directly to this page that we see here.
And then underneath, you have Right to Grow Rich, How to Become a Successful Author in One Day. So we've already tackled some of the nuggets. You have so many mentors, Rich. First of all, that's what I heard. I heard you say that over and over again. This person I read, Napoleon Hill, my mentor, and you said a couple names. So it wasn't like you just have one mentor. That's brilliant. And because you're surrounding yourself constantly with people who are going to plant good seed in your life. And it's obvious that it's taken root. Talk to us about this question and then your program.
Excellent. So how to become a successful author in one day? The process of writing is not the part that holds people back. The process of becoming a business does.
Wow. Yeah. Can you say that again, please?
Sure. It's not the writing part that holds most people back. It's the creating the business aspect that does.
Okay. How so?
The how so is when you write a book. Being an author once was, I write a book, I give it to a publisher, the publisher takes care of everything for me, they market for me, they put everything out there for me, and I just sit back and collect my residuals, which is not true. That's just a thought concept. Once you start becoming an author, you're an entrepreneur because it's on you to sell your book, market your book, and put your book in the hands of the people. Nobody's going to do that for you like you will. And that's what I learned the very first time I wrote a book. I went through a traditional publisher. I paid half the money to get the books printed, get the copies, everything. But then the publisher didn't do anything afterwards. It was kind of like, okay, now it's on you to make sure you market and put it out there. And I was thinking to myself, okay, why is he getting part of the money and I'm doing most of the work? It didn't make sense to me. So I decided that I parted ways with him and I created my own company. I started my LLC in 2016, created Power of Self Entertainment and Publishing, and I started publishing my own books. And the things I started to learn, was I needed to learn business because it wasn't, it's cool. People could know about your book, but if you can't present your book in a way that people are engaging with people, they're not going to buy it. If people don't know who you are as an author, as a person, as a human being, they're not going to buy it. No. Especially if you don't have a good cover. There's many covers. I was making fun of my friend because he had a cover that looked like a real estate, agent, like the standard real estate agent photo, just with his arms crossed and smiling. And I said to him, listen, I dig the cover. It's cute. It's nice looking, but it looks like every other 500 covers I'm going to see on Amazon.
That's right.
So there has to be a sense of uniqueness. So these are the things I teach: how to be unique, how to be original, how to have a compelling blurb. Like I turn people's books around and I read their blurb and I'm like, okay, you didn't give me anything. So one of the things with your blurb, you want to give the audience something. You want to entice them in a way that says, okay, I want to learn more about what they have to say. Yeah. So it's years of experience of creating a business. As you can see, my website says it looks beautiful, looks clean. This took time. To understand that it's a business and I have to market it as a business, because the difference between Nike and Adidas is the way they market.
Yeah. Come on. Say that again.
More because Adidas has good marketing, but Nike has great marketing.
That's right.
Great marketing, where they always stay on top because they entice you in a way that's emotional, that touches you to say, hey, I need this product, or hey, if I get this product or I get this book, I'm going to level up.
Yeah.
I'm going to level up. And that's what you want in your book. You want to give people something that's going to really give them something, not just, and sorry, I don't want to be taking over the conversation, but not just have a book where I'm talking about me.
That's right.
Books look at it like, yes, I hear you want to tell me your story, but where do I get? what kind of gems do I get from that story? And so always keeping the audience member, the reader in mind, are just major keys on how to not just have a book, but sell the book, market the book, and publish the book. And so I do everything in a very easy way. I don't like to make anything complex, because if it's too complex, you know, if you're like me, my brain, I go to sleep, I get tired. I'm like, okay, this is too much. So I created a step-by-step guide also that goes with the program that starts you from beginning to end.
Okay.
From the time you want to start to write your book, how to have a writing schedule is even more important, which we also have a writer planner that keeps you on task and on target. So you know, okay, a Monday I'm gonna write for 30 minutes. Tuesday I'm gonna write for 30 minutes. Even if you have only 10 minutes on Wednesday, okay, I'm gonna make sure I write my 10 minutes on Wednesday. And if you have it in your calendar before the week starts, what happens, it gets into your mind of, because you're probably like me, a task person. Okay, I gotta make sure I do this, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done. So if it's not on a list and if it's not on your calendar, the chances of it getting done drops significantly.
Exactly.
But once you have a plan on Sunday to start your week, by Monday, okay, I already know I'm gonna write for an hour. I already know I'm gonna write for 30 minutes. And it sets that schedule for you. And before you know it, you're like, oh, I have my book done already. And that's how I'm able to write so many books at such quick time.
Can I ask you a quick question? And we're going to get to some of these comments. First of all, I want to put up the website because some of you are sitting there. Hopefully you're taking notes, or just text it to yourself, put it in your notes in your phone, thewealthyauthor.com. If you guys want to not only get the books, but learn about the program. I want to show you these comments, Rich, because they're awesome.
Okay.
So part of the reason why I was at the backpack drive is I won Mrs. Corporate America 2019, and I was there to help pack, hand out backpacks or whatever for the nonprofit. And Nancy Lyles is the lifetime queen. She's also a part of the organization. She's a businesswoman and she's a writer. And she said, oh, I want to work with him for my next book.
I'll tell her, thank you. Definitely. And if you go to thewealthyauthor.com and go to the tab that says Write to Grow Rich, I actually have a free, I have the book for free, the PDF version that I'll send to you via email with all the links below to enter into the program. And so you get this book absolutely for free because I want to give people value. I want to show them that I'm not just a person on Candi's program, but I actually have the know-how and the knowledge, and I want to give you the value up front. So you can get this book absolutely for free to start the process on how to write to grow rich.
Isn't that, is that what we're showing right now on the screen? Is that where you?
That's it. Register for free for an ebook today.
Okay, perfect. Everything you're saying is so encouraging, Rich, and we're going to get to a couple more comments here.
Sure.
But I think about how you're making it very simple, and you're breaking it down into things that we can chew on, right? Because we can't swallow the whole elephant. How long does it take you to write let's see, I have a book here. Oh, I have actually one of my guests this week is going to be Dr. Keita Joy, and Dr. Keita Joy wrote Success Uncensored. Her book is about 129 pages. It's not a big book, right? It's kind of small. How long does it take to write about 100-page?
100-page book. It wouldn't take me that long. Now, I want to answer that question. I want to answer it honestly. So I'm just going to give a little bit of extra on the tail end of this question. So it wouldn't take me that long to write in a day. And the reason why, not in a day, I would say 100 pages I could probably do in 2 weeks. Okay. But I'll tell you why and how I can do it in 2 weeks. One is I make a web or I'll just show you here real quick. This is called a web, which I have here in the step-by-step guide, is I web my books before I write them.
Wow.
So I like to tell my students is I write the book before I write the book.
Wow.
So like if it's fiction, the plot line, the characters, the climax, the ending, the beginning, it's all written down in a steps before I actually start writing.
That is good.
You have to have a map, right? So even like you're saying, we're just driving from your house to my house. It's very simple. You want your GPS, but you put in your codes of your GPS beforehand. And what happens, they show you on the map where you are and where you're going. And so you know how many minutes it's going to take you. You know all the information before you start your car.
Yeah.
And that makes the drive smoother versus if you don't know where you're going, you're going to be making twists and turns and you're going to stop. You're going to have detours. You're like, oh man, there's a roadblock. I didn't know that. And all these things taking you off your path because you didn't have your map ahead of time. And my schedule, again, I said, okay, if it's going to take me, I could do this. If I want to do this in 2 weeks, how many times do I have to write? Okay, if I do an hour a day for 5 days a week, and maybe just 20 minutes on the weekend, I can set my time to know exactly where I'm going. So not only do I know I have a stopwatch of where I'm going, I have a map to where I'm going.
That's good.
So that is how I could do it so easily. And anyone can. It's just we don't create the map. We just sit in front of our computer and say, okay, all right, book, come out of me. Come out of me, book. And it's just,
we wish.
At least the writer's block, frustrations, because you're sitting there like, okay, you know, what do they do now? So I like to create the book before I ever create the book. So by the time I sit down and write, everything's already lined out for me, laid out for me, and I just follow the process. And so that's what I try to do for my students, is just help you follow the process, and then you're kind of good to go.
We are eating this up. It's like, you know, we fasted through the night. Our brains were just, you know, whatever our brains were doing. But right now we woke up and we're hungry for this. This is so good. So Jasmine, thank you for the comment. She says, my favorite part of your Right to Grow Rich program is the constant affirmations of being a wealthy author. We're only allowed to refer to each other as wealthy authors. Woo, that's good.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, she took one of my programs. I had a free program last month. Of course, she was a part of it because she wants to write a book. And yeah, that's one of our rules as a group. We could only refer to each other as wealthy authors. So if you have a comment, I would say, wealthy author Candi, please speak. Why? Because it's the mind. Yeah. You have to repeat something over and over and over again for you to believe it. Because the first time somebody calls you wealthy author, everybody laughs and shrugs it off. Right? Like, oh yeah, that's funny, Rich. But after a while, if I keep calling wealthy author, you're like, man, you know, maybe I can be a wealthy author. And then it gets into your mind. And that's the thing. The program is not just to teach you how to write. It's not just to teach you how to publish. It's not to teach you how to market. It's not only to teach you how to sell, even though we go through all that, but to teach you the mindset of an entrepreneur and what I like to call the warrior's mindset, that not letting obstacles, adversities, because they will happen. I mean, I'm guaranteeing you. Listen to my voice. Not it might. Les taught me this. My mentor Les Brown taught me this. He said, Rich, you will feel the fiery furnace of hell. Not you might, you will. So it's up to you, the mindset that you have, to walk through those fiery hells unburnt. It's not your body that's not going to burn you. It's the mindset. I'm not going to be burnt. Yeah. I won't be burnt. And then your body goes where your mind goes. And then you walk out of that furnace unburnt, and you're like, I didn't even feel the heat on that one. While everyone else is burning up, feeling the heat, I'm
Look, here's what we want you all to do. You have a share button on your screen. I know this has got to be shared at least 5 times by each of you that are watching this, because I didn't know what to expect, because we hadn't had a chance to speak since that backpack drive. And but I saw, you know, I watched your videos when you're posting something just inspirational every day. And then I know that you are part of the Les Brown organization. And so I just saw you doing great things, but I didn't expect this conversation to have really impact on our whole lives. One of the things that you said that's so important, and this is where people really get discouraged, is that they have this great content, whether you're writing your blog, if you have a website, if you're on Facebook, and let's say you have a book, and it's been sitting there for 5 years with no copies sold. Maybe you've given away your copies, and that's great because, you know, there's a law of giving and receiving.
Exposure, absolutely.
But I've been in business sales for 20 years. And there is, just to hear that you started your own publishing company, you started putting out your own material. We are in the age of just the entrepreneur and the creatives. And I don't need a broadcast studio to have my own show.
Yes, that's amazing, isn't it?
I decided what I did. Wait a minute. I've got sales and marketing skills. I've got a mini studio right here. I'm just going to do it. And so I want to encourage those of you watching to check out the program, because whether you're an author or you're doing something else in life, you do have to have those marketing and selling skills, but you own this. You have to take ownership of this. So let's get to it. I want you guys to put your questions as we're wrapping this morning. Thank you, Rich, for staying with us a little long. We usually try to wrap around 8:15, but this is too good.
So yeah, I get a little long-winded too, so you know.
It's okay. No, we're really feeding on this. So can you guys post some questions that you have? Are you one of these people that we know has a great story to tell, but you just maybe you're hitting a roadblock, or maybe you have fears in even getting started? Go ahead and post your questions. In the meantime, we'll go to some comments. So Terry says, "This is so informative. Thank you for sharing. It's absolutely this is so good. As a creative, I appreciate the step-by-step."
Yes.
Some creative minds don't think like that.
You know, I mentioned a lot of names because I do have a lot of mentors, and I study under a lot of people. You know, T.D. Jakes is one of my favorites. I mean, he's one of the most powerful speakers ever it's like God speaking to you sometimes. And he says, life is a process of steps. And each time you're just moving up a step, a step, a step. You know, this is how we teach kids how to walk. It's step by step by step. How you ride a bike, step by step by step. Even in school, you go first grade, second grade, third grade. We want to quantum leap from kindergarten to college. You know, it's just our impatientness. We want to quantum leap. But what TD talks about is enjoying the step that you're on, and then just contemplate the next step I had to go. Sometimes it's just, okay, what's the next logical step for me? Even in your book, okay, I reached the midpoint. What's the next logical step? Okay, how do we reach to the climax? How do we reach to the plot? And this works for life. Okay, so I've reached this dead end. What's the next logical step to help me still reach the goal? Again, you have to have a map. You have to know where you're going. And then once you know where you are going and you know where you are, it's all about steps. And again, sometimes we don't enjoy the steps we're on, because sometimes the steps we're on are negative, or they could be a little bit struggling. I'm like, oh God, you know, things are not working. But that's all part of the process as well. Because in that time when you're like, I don't know what to do, you're getting your brain to figure out what to do. Yeah. And that's the muscle you're actually building. So when you reach that college level, you reach that upper level, now when adversity, again, is they're going to keep hitting you. Now even a bigger adversity is going to hit you because you're on a bigger level. You know, new levels bring new devils. Yeah. Yeah, you know, and you have a new level. Now you can still say, okay, if I could handle that one in the past, I didn't know what to do and I figured it out. Now I could do it again. And that's how you become. That's the becoming of the more confident person, the well-to-do person, nothing can stop me person, the resilient person. That's who you're becoming. And each step is just leading you to more and more of that becoming of who you really are. Is an unstoppable warrior. And nothing, once you have that mindset, nothing in the world could ever stop you.
I'm taking notes. I couldn't find my pen. So you were on camera by yourself, and I'm like scrambling. I'm like, where's my pen? And then I write this down. And I wrote things like, we need a series of steps. The body goes where the mind goes. We can be our own, our own sales engine, and then being a warrior. So, well, I wanted to wrap with a few maybe practical steps that people can take today. Sure. So, what I can't stand doing is like, I go to a conference and I'm like, all pumped up, right? And then I leave the conference and I like don't do any of what I just paid $300 for.
Absolutely.
Because no one gave me the practical step 1, 2, 3. Like if you can give me a practical step 1, and I take that step when I leave this broadcast, one step that I need you guys to take is to share. Hit the share button for sure. That's step 1. But take us into like maybe a step 1 and 2 for today, if we want to move closer to becoming these wealthy authors.
Excellent. I'll do 3 steps.
Okay.
The first step I would do is I'll go into my website.
And I'm going to type as you talk. Is that okay? Because I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to type it out.
No problem. I will go to wealthyauthor.com and hit the Right to Grow Rich tab, and I will register for your free book. Even action before belief gets you closer to belief. Sometimes even if you take action before you actually could believe it to be true, it starts aligning you. They say a faith without action is dead. It's dead. So if you take action, even before your belief kicks in, you're starting the process. So I would say, number 1, get to the website, get the book. 2 is practice your auto suggestion. Write down 10 things, just 10 things. My wife started with this. One day we'll talk about, I say my wife's life just shifted. But just start with 10 affirmations, even if you don't believe them, doesn't matter, about the life you're trying to create. It could be, I am a wealthy author. I sold 1 million books overseas. I have published my 8th book. Like whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, write down those things in I am statements that are current, not I will be, not future statements, but I am. I am currently right now. There's a shift in your mind that happens. And what I would do for the next 30 days, is repeat that mantra as soon as you wake up. Have the paper next to you. So as soon as you wake up, start repeating those mantras. In the middle of the day, especially around lunch, 1, 2 o'clock, when your body starts getting bogged down through the day, repeat those. And then right before bed, repeat them. What you're going to see within 30 days is going to start reaching your subconscious mind. And then you're going to start taking action without even thinking about it. Impulses will happen. A thought will say, you know what? I feel like writing today. I didn't feel like writing yesterday, but today I feel like writing. I'm going to write something. You're going to start feeling those impulses because you're feeding your mind the nutrients, the seeds that you're trying to create. And I promise you, as clear as you see me now on camera, it will seed, it will plant, it will germinate. It just takes time. You just don't ever give up. I started with a 30-day challenge from a person named Earl Nightingale. He said, think positive for 30 days. And what's going to happen is when you start, it's like the devil's always listening. So once you say, I'm going to do this, the devil says, okay, we'll see. Yeah. And they're going to start sending stuff your way that's going to offset what you're affirming. That's the trick. This is the trick right here, is when you hit that adversity, and it will happen, keep practicing the mantra. Keep practicing the mantra. No matter what, says, okay, this is just what's happening now. This is not my future. We're working on my future now. We're working on my future because what's happening now is from the past, right? This is the timeline. So what's happening now is from the past. So what you're working on is your future. So keep affirming, keep affirming, keep affirming. For 30 days straight, I promise I did this for 30 days straight. I started to think differently.
Woo, that's good.
I started to think differently, and that started me the process.
I love it.
I think differently, it started me on the goal. And lastly is accept your flaws. I love telling people this is number 3, is find a way to accept all of your flaws. Some people say, well, Rich, somebody came to me once and said, Rich, I'm not a good writer. I never took a writing class. I wasn't good in English. I'm not a great writer. I said, that's perfect. That's perfect. You got to see it differently. I see it as perfect. I say, you know what? Good. That means you're unique, you're original. Write in a way that shows that you're not a great author. You're not a great, because people don't always want the same things. Some people want it simple, broken down.
Yeah.
So, Robert Kiyosaki, one of my favorite, he wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, one of my favorite mentors. He was, he failed out of English like twice. He was considered dyslexic. He had one teacher said, you'll never be a writer. You can't write for crap. And he's an international best-selling author. He just wrote it in a way that's very lame. Like we're having a conversation like you and I. He just wrote it very simple, like we're just having a regular conversation. Best-selling author. So look at your flaws as good things, not as bad things. It says, okay, I'm different. That's good. You want unique. You want different. You don't want to be like everyone else, because if you're like everyone, I could just buy his book or her book. Why, what do you bring to the table? if you're going to be just like her, I'll just buy her book.
Right.
Let's
right.
do what that was.
Yeah.
I remember we were on stage and there's some speakers that were trying to sound like Les. And Les said, listen, I'm humbled. I appreciate you want to sound like me, but that's not going to make you money.
Yeah.
Sounding like me. They'll just hire me. What's going to make you money? What's going to do good for you is being you. So accept all the flaws you have. I said, I speak a certain way. He said, that's good. That's good. Speak that way. Bring Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas said, like, listen, I look like I'm a kid from Detroit.
I love him.
Me too. He's like, I dress, act like I'm a kid from Detroit, but I'm a multi-millionaire in speaking. Why? Because I'm authentic, I'm organic. And they say, okay, you know what? I want Eric because there's nobody like Eric.
Yeah.
And so if you could accept all the flaws you have, it will elevate you because your uniqueness is based for your purpose.
Ooh,
you look the way you look, you sound the way you sound, your education, your background, everything is aligned for your purpose. Yeah. So use that. Don't run away from it. Use that to create that life that you want.
I needed to hear that this morning. I know you guys are taking this in, but this is for me. Just so, just like you're sitting in church and you're like, "Oh, that word was good."
Can I get a witness?
So we have Terry. She says, "I'm going to get my free book ASAP. Do it."
Yes, Terry.
Thank you, Terry. When someone offers something for free, like I'm doing the free courses on weekends, because much like you, Rich, I just want people to the bumps in the road and the detours that I took. I just maybe want to help shorten that detour for someone else.
Absolutely.
I give away free classes to learn how to do StreamYard, to learn how to do Wix. I started a website.
Send me that link. I want to take your StreamYard class.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, because I'm gonna do this weekend I'm gonna do walking through Wix, like making Wix easy with like one-click ordering and making sure it's integrated with all of your other platforms. It's really important because in this day and age, when you're on your cell phone, you want to be able to do that one click. And a lot of people's websites are not set up that way. They're not clean. Like yours is beautiful.
But I still want to take that as well because education is big. I mean, if you want to force that, always keep feeding your mind.
So
always keep feeding your mind.
That's actually good. I can't fit it on the screen because I didn't.
That's fine. But that's a little added tidbit. Yeah.
That's what I added. So let's go back through Rich's 3 steps before we close this morning. Register for the free book, and you can go right here. I'm going to put up the website really quick. The Wealthy Author, and it's easy to remember. And that's total branding. It's brilliant. TheWealthyAuthor.com. It helps that your name is Rich. That's awesome. So people have been calling you Rich your whole life.
Yeah.
And then you can get your free book. If you scroll down on the Right to Grow Rich tab, my screen is a little cut off here. Right to Grow Rich tab.
Yep.
All right, let's go to step 2 is write your I am statements. These are your affirmations. And you said that about 30 days is when you started to see the change? Absolutely.
And the trick is this, though. Again, once you set your 30-day, I promise on day 10, day 15, day 20, something will happen that will offset your thought. Now, that's fine. So if you go to a negative place for a day or two, whatever, just go back to that and start 30 days all over again.
That's good.
And what happens after a while, you forget you're even doing a challenge. That's when you know. That's when you know. We're like, I'm just thinking positively, and I'm not even, I don't remember what day I'm on.
That's good.
That's when you know, okay, it started to really, really seep in.
That's awesome. And then step 3 is accept your flaws. And that the reason why that is so good is because, I'd say every 3 or 4 days, the night before a live broadcast, I'd be like, why am I doing this? Like, you know how many times I've talked to people who are either in the industry or people who I know, people who are normally usually very positive. They'll say, wow, you're going live every day. And it's not like you're going live every day. It's you're going live every day. And I said, I had to build this discipline because if I'm going to run this like a business,
Yes.
I would be waking up and going to someone else's studio. If I'd lived out my dream, I'd be waking up at 4 a.m. and going to work for someone else to bring them ratings and viewers.
Ooh, that's so big. Like people are more disciplined for others than they are for their own dreams.
Talk about it.
Yeah, it's great. That's a whole other topic. That's a
That's
whole
another
other
show.
topic.
But that's why I do this. It's not because I necessarily want to be on camera like every morning. I had to build a discipline that if I'm going to run a media company and a broadcast show, if I'm going to have a show that's actually on the air, I need to be at that studio and on time and ready to go. So who's going to give me that opportunity if I'm not already doing it? I'm not even creating a space for myself to have that opportunity unless I'm taking action. So I learned that from you this morning.
Yes.
And then, so accepting your flaws was me saying, these are some of my quirks. Like this is it. And you can see so much on social media what other people are doing and start to get really discouraged that you don't look like them. But I love this because that's why I said I needed to hear that this morning, just to keep going with who I am. This is me.
We're all on your unique path.
Yeah.
All of us. And some people, their unique path looks just different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that your particular path is less valued or less valuable than theirs.
So we have some people are saying, yes, you two are talking to me this morning. Oh, Terry, we're so happy that you've been blessed by
Terry.
And then let's get to a couple other comments and then we'll go. Questions. I'm sorry. I meant to go to questions. Can people see all your replays? All the replays for the live broadcast are on my profile page, and I created a page, The Good Morning Show. So you can certainly go back and please hit share as you're watching this. And there were two more questions, Rich, and then we'll let you go, I promise.
Sure.
One was this is the really good question. Do you have your authors use CreateSpace?
Yes. CreateSpace is actually no longer in play. They changed the website to KDP. KDP.com.
Okay.
But yes, I have my authors use CreateSpace. And again, what you'll come to see in the Right to Grow Rich program, that the publishing side is actually the easiest part. Yeah. It's the easiest part. It's the mindset part.
Yeah.
That's the most difficult.
That's good.
And so anyone could go online and publish and create a book. That's simple. You see it all the time. But then you see, okay, why do they still have a garage full of books?
Right.
Why, yes, they were hyped a few months ago, but then I hear nothing about their book.
Yeah.
And so it's the marketing, the business side that really has to be penetrated to understand that you're no longer a regular person anymore. Wow. You're a business.
Woo!
Look at it as that. And it's a shift. It's a way shift because before, again, when I worked corporate, you get up in the morning, you're just an ID number, you come in, you do your thing, you go home, and you live your regular life. As a business, that there's no longer that. You're constantly your business. Whether you're on camera or not on camera, you are constantly your business. And that's just a shift of mindset that has to be understood in order to become a successful author.
Oh, that's awesome. So one last question here, and this might be one that maybe Terry can email you as well, talking about setting prices for proofreading and editing someone's book and what you charge. Is there a way how do we email you or how do we reach you?
Yes, you can email me at info at powerofselfent.com.
I'll do it right
now. Info at powerofselfent.com.
All right, let's put that up here if I can. Hopefully I can. Let's see. And so I don't know if you want to speak to any piece of the question here.
Yes. It varies. So there's some details I'll have to ask her first to kind of give her that answer, but I'll give her some general. One last thing I want to say before I say that is on June 20th, we're having a Right to Grow Rich program. Now I have 8 seats left for free. Okay. So if you want to go into the program for June 20th, it's an online Zoom just like this. Right. And it's an all-day process. Okay. And we have only 8 free slots left. So if you go onto the website, you can register for free only for those 8 spots. Once those 8 spots are filled, it's the upper tiers where you have to pay, but you get books and you get programs, you get your planner. So it's not like you're paying for nothing. You're paying to actually get material. Right. Some people get the free program to buy the material later. Some people like to have the material while they're doing the program. So to answer the question, pricing, editing It all depends on how many words you have. That's going to vary on your price of editing. Where you can get editing, either you can go through. I go through for professional editors.
Okay.
I would just be wary. Check their reviews. Check the reviews, man, because I've had some really bad editing and bad editors. Just check the reviews.
Is that right, Rick?
Yes, perfect. And we offer editing. If you email me at info@powerent.com, we offer editing. We offer blurbs. We offer covers. I mean, everything in the writing publishing process, we do. Even ghostwriting. So if you ever need any help, we can help you with that. But the prices all depends on how many words you're writing. Because it takes how much time the person needs to proofread, do the copywriting, and the formatting and everything like that. So it just depends on how large your book is.
Okay, got it. Well, you guys, we got to let Rich go. He's got family to attend to. He's got business to work on. I'm going to put up the website one more time here so they can go and get their free book, and also. They can find out about the June 20th event.
Yes, June 20th.
Awesome. And so I really appreciate you. And thank you to your beautiful wife for joining too and coming on and commenting. I'm so happy. You guys are like a beautiful team. And
thank you.
Pray all the success and increase over what you're doing. Can you come back like maybe once a month and I don't know. I'm totally putting you out there right now, right?
I mean, you put me on blast, and I got to say yes, right? You got me in public saying it, so I would love to. These types of talks is what I live for. I mean, it's really what I live for. I love helping people. When I was going through my problem, my trouble and tribulations, I didn't have anyone until I found one mentor that just led me to other mentors, and that just helped change my life. So I love to pay it forward, because if it wasn't for people like Les, Jim Rohn, Robert Greene, Jack Canfield, Abraham, all these amazing mentors, I wouldn't be anywhere. I don't know where I would be honest with you. I might have been that jailer statistic. So I love to do this because it changed and saved my life. So if I could do that for just one person, I fulfilled a life purpose. So yeah, anytime, just email me, let me know. I'll be glad to talk to your audience, and keep this running. I love what you're doing here. Love it.
Thank you. And we love the fact that there is some amazing, talented authors out there like you, but you're also training us how to be wealthy in what we do. And really, that is the point of your gifts. Your gifts will make a way for you. Your gifts will bring wealth and increase to your families. And if we're not operating our gifts, how are we going to really experience all of our purpose, the fullness of your purpose? That's a lot of what we do here on the show. And so I would invite all of you to go to candibryan.com and subscribe today. I am doing the free classes on Saturday mornings. They were 12 noon, but as people are going back to work and things and getting out, I wanted to do it earlier. So Saturdays, 9 a.m., we're doing free courses on how to use social media tools and all of these online tools to really boost your presence. So this Saturday, we're talking about integrating tools with Wix and the power of having a really tight website that provides one-click ordering, provides a space for membership to your organization. And then the following Saturday, 9 a.m., this Saturday, 9 a.m., next Saturday, 9 a.m. is Help Me Sell. A lot of creatives, artists, writers, you know it already, because this is why you're doing what you do, Rich, is that you're creative, but then you don't really know how to sell, or you feel awkward selling. And we want to create authenticity in selling it. It's not gimmicky. You're not trying to hook someone. You're trying to share with the world your gift to help change someone's life. So my guest today, Rich Fontaine, thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Until tomorrow morning, you guys, this whole week is about authors, and we're just going to have more great discussions. So I hope you tune in, Rich. I
will. Absolutely. Every morning.
Every morning. All right, you guys, until tomorrow, 7:45 a.m., The Good Morning Show. We are your place of faith in the morning. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.